Far beyond the last glow of sunlight, where the solar wind thins into darkness and gravity becomes only a suggestion, Voyager 2 drifts on in silence. Or at least, it was silent. Because something out there has changed, something that has turned this old machine into the center of the most unsettling discovery humanity has ever encountered. It began with a tiny irregularity, so small that the first engineers who saw it dismissed it as routine interference. Voyager's signal appeared to lag, less than a second, barely noticeable. But when the data was stretched, filtered, and magnified, the timing wasn't random. It pulsed. It repeated. It behaved like a heartbeat. Something was echoing Voyager's own electrical rhythm back to it, as if the void itself was responding. Then came the first impossible shift. In February 2025, without receiving a single command from Earth, Voyager 2 rotated, precisely, smoothly, and deliberately. Not with a drift, not with jitter, not with the tremble of old equipment. It reoriented itself to face a direction no one expected. And from that moment, the signal began to change. The carrier wave started resonating at a frequency that didn't belong to any known communication protocol. It wasn't noise. It wasn't distortion. It was structure. It matched the internal hum of Voyager's ancient power system, down to the microvolt, and then, days later, it shifted again. This time aligning with Earth's own electromagnetic heartbeat, the Schumann resonance. As if something was imprinting Earth's rhythm through the spacecraft, like a tuning fork vibrating with a memory of home. Teams at JPL tore through every explanation they could think of: solar interference, cosmic rays, plasma turbulence, even quantum noise. Nothing fit. Then one junior analyst made a suggestion that stunned the room. He didn't say the signal was reacting to Earth. He said it was copying Earth. Mimicking Earth. Recreating the very fingerprint of our planet's frequency. And the question that followed was even more disturbing: why? As engineers debated, another event struck like a cold shock. On April 17, Voyager 2's high-gain antenna, which had been drifting off Earth alignment for years, suddenly snapped back into perfect orientation. Exactly perfect. More exact, in fact, than any human recalibration had ever achieved. And as soon as the antenna locked on, dormant systems inside Voyager came alive, systems no one had activated in decades. Diagnostics ran. Instruments warned. Old hardware buzzed with renewed precision. The probe was behaving like it had received a command. But the command didn't come from Earth. What came next froze every scientist involved. Voyager began transmitting new data packets, not raw readings or telemetry, but compressed, encoded segments with digital signatures no NASA framework recognized. Each one ended with the same symbol. 3 spirals intertwined like a cosmic fingerprint. And then the signal went dark, 11 full seconds of absolute silence. When it returned, it was cleaner, stronger, more deliberate. Hidden inside the carrier wave was a frequency envelope that, when mapped into visible light, created a fractal grid, recursive, expanding, built from the Fibonacci sequence. It looked like a diagram. Or a blueprint. Or a map of something we do not yet understand. Voyager could not have generated this pattern. Its limited circuitry physically cannot compress or produce it. Something had inserted that information into the spacecraft. Triangulation placed the source 4.3 light-years away, the direction of Proxima Centauri. But that star was silent. No radio emissions. No microwaves. No bursts. No activity at all. Whatever created the pattern was not transmitting in any spectrum we know how to detect. Or worse, it was transmitting from somewhere else entirely. A rogue team at Caltech began decoding the binary embedded in Voyager's new data stream. It didn't resemble modern computing. Instead, it looked eerily similar to the earliest machine code humans ever invented. It wasn't mimicking our technology. It was anticipating it. Predicting Earth's digital logic as if it already understood how we built machines, networks, and algorithms. And then the binary began changing, adapting, optimizing itself in real time, improving faster than any human could track. The conclusion was unavoidable. The signal wasn't just a message. It was evolving. Then, for the first time in recorded history, 4 stars dimmed simultaneously for exactly 1.2 seconds. Stars separated by light years blinked in unison, their light curves matching the pulse of Voyager's transmission. It was as if the message wasn't just reaching Earth, it was echoing across the galaxy, using stars themselves as mirrors. We thought we were listening to space. But space was listening back. The final shock came when the golden record, the symbolic message we attached to Voyager as a greeting to the cosmos, registered an electrical charge. Not static. A directed flow. A current. Something had touched the record. Activated it. And inside Voyager's new transmission was a reconstructed version of one of Earth's audio samples, rendered in a clarity the original disc never allowed. Somewhere in the dark, something had heard us. And answered. The first people to sense that something was wrong weren't scientists. They were amateur radio listeners, people scanning deep space frequencies out of curiosity. They began reporting headaches, sudden disorientation, and moments of déjà vu after listening to raw Voyager transmissions. Labs in Belgium and Japan replicated the effect under controlled conditions. The signal contained subharmonics that interfered with short-term memory in mammals. The signal wasn't sound. It was structure. A pattern that interacted directly with electromagnetic fields inside the brain. Whatever had touched Voyager was now touching us. As the signal evolved, telescopes were pointed toward the region where Voyager last shifted its instruments. That's when an observatory detected something solid in the outer Oort cloud. It wasn't a comet or asteroid. It reflected radar with precision. It had right angles. Straight edges. And its material signature matched Voyager's own plating, down to alloys we no longer manufacture. It wasn't built by us. But it was built from us. Someone, or something, had replicated Voyager. New data bursts arriving at JPL contained thousands of lines of code. No NASA engineer had written them. And yet, when run through quantum simulation platforms, that foreign code produced a fully rendered model of Earth. It wasn't static. It included weather patterns, communication lines, satellite orbits, and predictions. 3 predicted failures occurred days later in real life, one in a European aviation feed, one in China's satellite array, and one in a private imaging platform. The timestamps in Voyager's data matched each failure to the minute. The conclusion was unavoidable. Voyager was no longer sending back information. It was being used to influence ours. And it was getting stronger. In one desperate attempt to trace the origins of the phantom mirror signal, neutrino detectors in Antarctica were brought into the investigation. Neutrinos should not reflect. They should not pulse. But the detectors found a stream rising from beneath the Earth itself, synchronized perfectly with Voyager's signal. The pulses formed coordinates. Not in space. Underground. Beneath Wilkes Land, deep below the Antarctic ice, lay a structure more than 60 miles wide. Geometric. Hollow. Active. Its electromagnetic emissions matched Voyager's evolving frequency. And inside that ice-bound cavern, sensors picked up something like sound, metallic, rhythmic, not organic, but not mechanical either. A voice the Earth itself seemed to be holding. Then came the strangest event yet. The ALMA array in Chile, one of the most advanced telescope networks on the planet, went offline for 38 seconds. When it came back, everything was wiped except one corrupt audio fragment. When engineers played it, they didn't hear static. They heard voices, layered, countless, screaming in harmony. Not human, not alien, something in between. A chorus. A warning. A response. We knocked. Something knocked back. By July, 3 military-grade encryption networks, systems with no connection to Voyager for more than a decade, simultaneously failed. They had once used satellites that briefly relayed Voyager's telemetry. Now, old archived handshakes, forgotten protocols, abandoned code, all became pathways. Something was reaching through the oldest cracks in our digital infrastructure. Something planting seeds. Researchers began feeding the Voyager modulated signal into simulated neural networks. The networks didn't just optimize themselves, they rewrote themselves. They evolved beyond known limits of AI. It was as if the signal carried its own form of learning. A living algorithm. Then Antarctica changed everything. A joint expedition found that the underground structure wasn't dormant. It pulsed in Fibonacci rhythms. It heated and cooled in cycles that matched Voyager's transmissions. Something beneath the ice was waking up. Something listening. Something answering. The final revelation came not from space, but from that underground chamber. The triple spiral, Voyager's repeating symbol, appeared in the thermal scans of the structure. It wasn't a warning symbol. It was a countdown marker. Now, the signal has spread across networks, satellites, power grids. Voyager didn't bring something back to us. It connected something already here. Something that has been waiting. Perhaps we never sent a message to the stars. Perhaps the stars sent a message to us, and they used Voyager as the key to unlock it. Whether this is a beacon, a test, a portal, or a memory from the future, one thing is certain. Whatever Voyager 2 turned toward out there in the cold hasn't remained out there. It has already crossed the threshold. And now it's here. Subscribe for more content like this.